Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom to all my brothers and sisters out there, especially the ones in this truth, in this walk of faith. Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai, Barakatham to you all. This brother Yashar for the seed souls of Israel and the milk deliverers of Israel, coming back at you in another segment. First off, I would like to say all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Ruach, Rekal Kadesh. And this little segment, I'm going to keep it short. I just wanted to speak about this whole Kobe Bryant thing. I see it's like the new internet frenzy now. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's sharing his story about how he miraculously just died in a helicopter crash, I mean, it's a sad thing, especially for his family, for his wife, his two remaining daughters. I mean, it's a sad thing, for all of the fans. Everyone loved Kobe, even me. He was a great basketball player. He sort of have similarities to Michael Jordan, as everyone can see. And he was one of the greats. I think he scored more than Jordan too, for the all-time scoring list. So he was a great basketball player. There's no denying that. But one thing's for sure, none of us know the time. None of us. Sometimes we think we have it all mapped out, We have all we need down here. We have a lot of money. We feel like we've accomplished so much and that we're going to live out the rest of our days, in the riches that we've accumulated over the years. In our big fancy house, our nice cars, we don't have no need or want for anything, at least anything materialistic and financially wise, But one thing's for sure, as I was going to say, you don't know when the Most High is going to call you home, You don't know. I mean, Kobe Bryant, he was 41 years old, me and him is around the same age, and he thought he was going to probably just have a fantastic life. He played 20 plus years in the NBA. He retired as one of the greats. And he thought he was going to live out the rest of his years, just taking trips around the world, driving around in his fancy cars, spending a whole lot of money. But the Most High had different plans for him, So one thing you want to make sure is that your soul is all right with the Most High. You got to be keeping these laws, statutes, commandments that He commanded us to do as a nation of people. And if He see that you're not doing it, He's going to call you home, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once He pull that number, that's it. No matter how old you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter who you are, how famous you are, when it's time to go, it's time to go, right? So I got a couple of scripture that I want to bring out in relation to this. And the first one I want to go to is in the book of Deuteronomy, in the Old Testament, the King James Bible, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10. And I'm going to start at verse 12. Okay. Yeah, so we got to make sure that we right with the Most High, man. One thing you want to do is make sure that your calling is sure. So when the Most High pluck your number, you can say, hey, I did right by the Most High. I kept the law, statutes, commandments. I reversed I rehearsed the righteous acts, mainly with our people, with our nation, the people. That's one thing that we have to do. We have to show love to one another, man. It seems like our people, we show love to everyone else except our own. You know what I'm saying? And that's an abomination in the Most High's eyes. When Christ was sent to this world, He told us to love one another. That was His commandment towards us, because He know how we are towards one another. And still to this day, we hate each other with a passion, man, without cause. You know what I'm saying? We look at each other dirty. We expect the worst from each other. We don't respect one another at all. I mean, we have zero respect for one another, man. Zero. No tolerance for each other. No mercy, no remorse. And it's bad, man. It's bad to see that amongst our people. You know what I'm saying? But, we're the ones that claim that we follow Christ and worship God, right? I mean, we could be so hypocritical, man. Very hypocritical. Right? So, I'm going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, and I'm going to start at verse 12. And it reads, "And now, Israel, what doth the Lord, Yahweh, thy God, our power, require of thee, but to fear the Lord Yahweh, thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul." So that's what the Most High requires of us, man. We have to believe in him and serve in him with all our heart and all our soul, no matter what. And that means keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what we're supposed to do as a nation of people. We were commanded to do this. Verse 13, "To keep the commandments of the Lord Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good." Right? This day. Right now. Not yesterday, not a few years ago, not in the future. Right now. This day. And if you want to count it as the future, you're supposed to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments in the future too. As long as you live it. So this is a commandment for us, brothers and sisters. We're supposed to be doing this, man. Verse 14, "Behold, the heaven and the heaven of the heavens is the Lord thy God's, the earth also, with all that therein is." Verse 15, "Only the Lord Yahweh had the delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day." So the Most High, he does have a chosen people. And this chosen people, he gave the law, statutes, commandments in order for us to keep for as long as we live on his earth, right? Verse 16, "Circumcise therefore the foreskins of your heart," right? Your heart is your mind. "And to circumcise it is to abide in his law, statutes, commandments," right? "And be no more stiff-necked." And what people is a more stiff-necked people than our people? I mean, out of all of the people of the earth, we're some very stubborn people. We don't want to listen, we have a lot of people like us brothers and sisters. We go out there, we try to tell people to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, to get your sins blotted out, so you can make your calling and election sure when he calls you home, I mean, you wouldn't have no worries, right? Because you know that you've done right by the Most High. You've done his laws, statutes, and commandments. But our people, we refuse to believe that these commandments are still in effect. The first thing we say, oh, the laws are done away with. Paul says we under grace, so, we basically have a license to sin. While we're here, we can do whatever we want to do and don't receive any recompense for that. And there you have it, as a prime example. Unfortunately for Kobe Bryant's family, hey, I mean, I can't really say if the man was doing anything that was abominable in the Most High's eyes for the reason why he called him home. But I mean, hey, that's a judgment of the Most High. No matter how you go out, some people, they may say, oh, it wasn't the Most High, it was Satan. Satan's the one killed him, or someone sabotaged the helicopter, or something was wrong with the helicopter, or maybe something went wrong with the pilot. I mean, all of that, it's in question, is up in the air. You never know. But for the most part, it was a judgment of the Most High. No matter how we try to put it, So, I'm going to continue on. "For the Lord Yahweh, your God, our power, is God of gods, and Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and terrible, right? Which executive judgment on people. Hey, you can say that that accident that Kobe Bryant had, that was a terrible accident. I mean, he crashed into a side of a mountain. I'm pretty sure that was the last thing that he thought about. When he woke up this morning, Kobe didn't think about, hey, I'm going to run into a helicopter and, well, Salaki, I'm going to take a helicopter ride and we're going to crash into a mountain. That was the last thing he was thinking about. He woke up this morning, he thought everything was going to be normal. He thought he was going to get in that helicopter and have a normal ride to the stadium, go watch a basketball game or whatever, what have you. Going to get a nice view of the city on the way there, a nice view of the beach, the mountains, and everything else. And boom, what happens? You wind up crashing into the mountain. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to be funny and all, but but hey, I'm pretty sure that's what was on his mind. The last thing that was on his mind was death, especially with his daughter too. You know what I mean? So I think they said it was 9 people total that was on that helicopter. So a lot of people lost their lives there that morning, And it's a terrible thing, but it says right here in verse 17, for the Lord, Salakia, for the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. So just as I was saying earlier, no matter who you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how poor you are, no matter who you are, no matter how famous you are, how much your name ring out around the earth, hey, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. The Most High, he don't regard no persons. No matter how old or young you are. I mean, he was 41 years old. I'm pretty sure he had at least 300, 400 million in the bank, So he thought he was going to live out the rest of his days and in the lap of luxury. Go take trips wherever you want to go, buy whatever car he want, He probably have a few houses around the whole country. Probably got a house down in Miami, a house in California, of course, and near Calabasas where the helicopter crashed. Probably got a condo somewhere up in New York. You never know what he had, so he probably thought he was going to live out his days just fantastically, But hey, the Most High, he always have extra plans. You know what I mean? You never know. So you got to make sure that your soul is right, man. You got to be out here rehearsing the righteous acts with your people and keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, Because as it says in verse 17, he regardeth not persons, nor take reward. Right? So you always want to make sure that you're right with the Most High. Right? So I'm going to go down to verse Salakia. I'm going to go to chapter 32, and I'm going to start at verse 39. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39. Right? And it reads, see now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So that's the Most High letting you know there. He the one that calls the judgments. No matter how you look at it. I mean, you can argue back and forth until your face turn blue all day long about, something went wrong with the helicopter or someone sabotaged it to make it crash, or maybe the pilot had a heart attack, or, maybe. And plus the weather, as I noticed when I was looking at the news, this morning when I seen how the sky looked, it looked foggy out there. It looked like it was very, the air was very thick. The clouds, you could barely see through them, And I'm saying, wow, why would someone want to get in a helicopter and fly You can barely see. It's so foggy out there, you know. And I was thinking, I said, maybe the pilot didn't see through that thick fog. And next thing you know, by the time he noticed that he was up on the mountain, it was too late. You know, that's the first thing that came to my mind when I seen it. When I seen the scene of the helicopter crash, it looked very foggy around there. And it wasn't from the smoke. You know, some people might think, oh, it was probably from the smoke of the helicopter, from the fire. But no, if you look at the surrounding area, how the sky looked, it looked very foggy out there this morning. So, you know, that could have played a big role in it. You know, maybe the helicopter pilot didn't see the mountain, you know, and who knows, you know, maybe, you never know. Probably Kobe, he probably didn't even want to get on a helicopter. He probably came outside and see how foggy it was. And he was like, you know, I think I might want to drive the car instead, you know. But, you know, you have the pilot. He probably been flying helicopters for years, and he probably got a little proud and said, oh, I've been flying in this type of weather for 20 some odd years. You know, you have nothing to worry about, and we're going to get there safe and sound, you know. And he sort of enticed Kobe to get on a helicopter, you know. And then the Most High, you know, he don't like a prideful man. You know what I mean? When you think that you're all high and mighty, and you think that something may not go wrong because, you know, you're so professional at what you're doing, the Most High, he can confound you. You know, he can prove you wrong. And unfortunately for them, you know, that's what happened. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but I'm just speculating, you know. And, but me personally, you know, if I see that it's that foggy, you know, I'm not going to take a plane or a helicopter anywhere. If I have my car, I'm just going to drive the car. If it's going to take an hour more or whatever to get there, then so be it. At least I still have my life, right? I mean, that's the whole point. So, yeah, but, you know, some people, they can argue back and forth and say, oh, this happened, that happened, you know, or, you know, maybe it was a sacrifice, or, you know, some people, they're going to say all sorts of things. But it says right here in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39, see now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Right? So not even that pilot, you know, he couldn't deliver them out of the Most High's hand. You know, when it was that time for them to go, that was it. There was nothing, you know, Skalakia. There was nothing that they can do. You know, I'm pretty sure they tried everything. All 9 people aboard, you know, they probably try to grab the handle of the helicopter, probably try to aim it higher to go over the mountain, or sort of go or turn from the mountain. But it was nothing they can do, you know, because it was their time, you know. And the Most High says it right here, you know, there's no one that can deliver you out of my hand. So there was nothing that they can do, you know. And it's unfortunate that, you know, a lot of people, you know, they're bearing their pain right now because of what happened. But, you know, I guess all of us got to go sometime, right? You know. And unfortunately for all of us, we may not know how we're going to go, but, you know, none of us are here forever. So just like I said, you know, you want to make sure that your soul is right with the Most High, and you got to be out here rehearsing these righteous acts and keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, you know. All right, so I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 1. All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 1. And it reads, My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Right? So it says it right here in the book of Proverbs, in the section Using Wisdom, started with chapter 3, keeping the commandments of the Most High, it prolongs your life. You know? I mean, that's a straight cut there. So if you want to live long on this earth, and you want to make your you want to add years to your life, you want to prolong your life and enjoy your days here on this earth, you got to keep the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. If you want to enjoy your riches that you accumulated over the years, you want to live to see your kids get older and have families of their own. That's what we have to do. Verse 2. For the length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Yeah, long life and peace. Right? Verse 3. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them around thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart, which is your mind, right? So that means you're always supposed to keep these laws, statutes, commandments in your mind, no matter what. When you wake up, when you go to bed, when you at work, when you're out running errands, anything, anywhere. You got to keep these, you got to meditate on these laws, You got to always be rehearsing the righteous acts. Verse 4. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Right? So if you're keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, the Most High is going to show you favor. And not only that, the people of the world is going to show you favor because they're going to see that you're being righteous and you rehearsing the righteous acts. You're going to be shown favor. You're going to be exalted, and you don't even have to do your own exalting. The people is going to do it for you because they see that you rehearsing the righteous acts, right? And then the Most High, he's the creator and controller of all things. So if the Most High is going to show you favor, of course, the people of the world that he created is going to show you favor too. Because they know that you're doing right by the Most High. Right? Verse 5. Trust in the Lord Yahweh with all thine heart, which is your mind, and lean not unto your own understanding. Slakia, lean not unto thine own understanding. Right? So you got to trust in the Most High with all your heart. If you're out here keeping his laws, then, that's something that's just going to come automatically because you have that much faith in the Most High to be keeping his laws that you're going to trust in him in all your ways. Right? And don't lean on to your own understanding, which is anything that's contrary to this book. You got a lot of our people, they doing that nowadays. They leaning on to their own understanding. They're committing whoredom, which is worshiping other gods, saying there ain't no God. Like I was having a conversation with this person a few days ago, and they were saying that I don't know if this is a part of some new age religion thing or whatever, but now it seems like people are trying to call God and Christ extraterrestrials, and I'm like, how in the hell can he be an extraterrestrial? I don't know if you went to science fiction movies or not, but the Most High in Christ is the creator of all things. They control all things, even everything that goes on in this world. The Most High in Christ controls. Because Christ was given dominion over everything on earth. You know what I mean? So he's like our mediator. Of course, the Most High, he's the creator of all things, heavens and earth, but dominion was given to Yahushai. You know what I mean? So we have to go through Yahushai to get to Yahweh, Salakia. Right? So if we're created in his image, which it states in the book of Genesis, how can they be extraterrestrials? I mean, according to science fiction movies, aren't the extraterrestrials something that looks like some sort of monstrous figures or whatever? You know what I mean? So how can he be an extraterrestrial, but we're made in his image? So in other words, we would be extraterrestrials ourselves. You know, or we would be like onto extraterrestrials. So that made no sense with me. So I told him, you know, you must be an atheist or non-believer, because it says right here in the book of Genesis, in the first chapter, the very first chapter, that he created the heavens and earth. You know, as a matter of fact, let me get that. Roughly paraphrasing, but you know, I'm gonna actually get it for you. You know, it really don't make no sense with some of these people nowadays. You know, they're just going off and they believe in whatever the hell they want to believe in nowadays. You know, and it states it right here in the Bible, you know, who's the creator of all things, you know. As it says right here in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Right? So that's a clear cut right there. So if you don't believe in that, then, I mean, you're just an atheist. You don't believe in the Most High. Because it says it right here. As soon as you open your Bibles, no matter what version it is, it says this right here, that the Most High created the heavens and the earth. Right? So how can they be extraterrestrial? If they're extraterrestrial, then they're someone of a different world. Meaning they didn't create this world. They're from a different world. So how can the Most High be an extraterrestrial? But it says right here that he created the heavens and this earth right here. You know, it don't make no sense. That debunks their whole argument right there. You know what I mean? So I'm not even going to speak anymore on that, man. That was crazy when I heard that. Right? So I'm going to go back to the book of Proverbs in chapter 3. And I'm going to start back at verse 6, where I left off. And it reads, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Right? "Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord Yahweh and depart from evil." Right? So in verse 6, it says you have to acknowledge the Most High in all your ways, and he will direct thy paths. Right? So as far as Kobe Bryant, you know, if he would have been acknowledging the Most High, maybe he was. You know, I can't say that he wasn't. You know, but see, but the one thing is, our people, they have the zeal of Yahweh. You know, but not according to the knowledge of the scriptures, right? A lot of us, we say, oh, I believe in God and I follow Christ and I worship God, but they don't do anything he say. You know, all of his instructions for us to do and how to live down here on this earth is in these scriptures here. And a lot of people, they don't do what he say. A lot of people, they don't keep his laws, statutes, commandments. They cast it behind them and they do whatever the hell they want to do. They say, oh, we're under grace now and we don't have to keep the law. You know, we have a license to sin. And they just do whatever they want to do. They go off into worshiping other gods. You know, so I can't really say that Kobe was acknowledging the Most High, the real Most High of the scriptures in all of his ways, you know, and he would have directed Kobe's path. You know, maybe he would have directed Kobe's path to his car. You know, when Kobe stepped out of his house, he would have seen that it was kind of foggy that morning, and he would have said, hey, you know, I don't think that I should fly today. You know, maybe it'll be best to take the car. You know, yeah, it's going to be an extra 45 minutes or an hour to get there to where we're going, but you know, at least we're going to make it there safe and sound. I mean, I trust in my own driving enough to get there safe, right? So, you know, if Kobe was a true worshiper of the Most High and walking in his ways, then the Most High would have directed his path and he would have made him make a different decision this morning, you know. But unfortunately for him, it didn't work out that way. And for the other 8 people that was aboard. So I'm going to go to chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse 10 in the book of Proverbs. All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 9, verse 10. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Right? So the knowledge of the holy, which is the Most High, and his laws, statutes, commandments, is understanding. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. So if you fear the Most High, you're going to do what he say. You know, the Most High gave us laws to keep down here. And if you fear the Most High, you're going to keep those laws. Right? And that's the beginning of wisdom there. And it gives you understanding. You know, it helps you make better judgment. It helps you conduct your moves better. You know what I mean? It prolongs your life, as it says in the book of Deuteronomy. Right? For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. Right? So if you keeping these laws, you know, you're going to get your days multiplied and the years of your life increased. So you can live to enjoy that 300, 400 million or more. You never know. You know, I haven't checked his net worth or anything like that, you know, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's up there. You know, he's one of the NBA best players, you know, so I'm pretty sure he accumulated a lot of money over the years. But, you know, unfortunately, you can't say that for most NBA players that's good, you know, or was considered one of the best. I mean, you can say Allen Iverson or Latrell Sprewell, for an example. You know, those guys, they was considered one of the best in the NBA, especially Allen Iverson. And if you look at his net worth, I mean, you would just be taken back. You would say, wow. I mean, this is all he have, you know. So, I mean, hey, and that also comes with pride. You know, when you out there, you being prideful. You know, you saying, oh, I have this, I have this, I have that, I can do whatever I want. You know, no one's going to take this from me. And the Most High, he will humble you real quick. Real quick. You know, so hey, we got to be careful on how we act, you know, once we reach a certain status in this life. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High, he'll snatch it all away from you real quick. When you start becoming unappreciative of what you have and start being prideful, the Most High will humble you real quick, right? So just as it says in verse 11, for by me thy days shall be multiplied, which is the Most High. He will multiply those days, right? And the years of thy life shall be increased. So that's what we have to do. You know, if we want our years increased, we got to keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, right? I'm going to go to the book of Mark, chapter 8. And I'm going to start at verse 36. All right. Okay, here we go. The book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Right? So that's what Kobe Bryant did, you know. He gained the whole world. He made a whole lot of money. He had the fame. He had the fortune. You know, his name rang out. Everyone knows him. You know, but hey, when it was all said and done at the age of 41, he lost his life, right? He lost his soul. You know, the Most High called him home, you know. You know, no one's life guaranteed. No one's guaranteed tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Not you, not me, not Kobe. You know, not any other superstar or rich person. You know, when the Most High, when he says it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. So you made all of that money and you thought that you was going to live out the rest of your days lavishly. And the Most High said, you know what? It's time to come home. You know, so what profit you? It's not going to profit you. It's going to profit the ones who you left the money to. But you have nothing now. Just as you came into the world, you left the world with nothing, right? Verse 37. Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Right? So when it's your time to go, you can't make any bribes. When the Most High calls you home, that's it. There's nothing you can do. There's no reasoning. You can't make any bribes. You can't say, hey, what if I give you $100 million? Can I live 10 days more? It's going to be none of that. When it's time to go, it's time to go. So you can't exchange anything for your soul. No matter how rich you are, no matter who you are. Right? The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 6 to 7. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2, verses 6 to 7. And it reads, and here it is once again, just like in the book of Deuteronomy, it's also in the book of Samuel, right? Chapter 6, and it reads, the Lord killeth and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich, he bringeth low and he lifteth up. Right? So the Most High made Kobe Bryant rich. Kobe, he probably think, or his fans, or the people he know, whoever, they probably think that he did it off his own might and will, but it was the Most High that gave Kobe Bryant those talents, to be just like Michael Jordan, or better. He scored Michael Jordan on an all-time scoring list, so that was of the Most High. The Most High gave him that talent. No matter how much, the people of the world, they idolize him and, they say he's better than Jordan, better than LeBron James or whatever, one of the best basketball players of all time. But it was of the Most High. The Most High gave him that talent. The Most High gave him all of the riches that he had. He gave him that private helicopter that he had. Unfortunately for him, that he died in. But all of that was from the Most High. He maketh rich and maketh poor, or killeth or maketh alive. So everything is of the Most High. Whatever goes on in this world, it's all from the Most High, no matter what. Right? The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9. And I'm going to start at verse 10. Right? And it reads, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. Right? So that's the Most High letting you know, whatever you're talented in, do it with all your might. That's what Kobe did. He found out that he can be a good basketball player, one of the best he wound up being, and he done it with all his might. It gained him his riches, all that he have, his fame, and that's what he did, with his life. He became one of the best basketball players in the NBA. But now, as it says, there is no work, nor device, no knowledge, no wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. So now, being that he's deceased, all of that stuff is erased now. All of that he did in the world. Of course, the people that's still here, they're going to remember that. They know what type of person he was, and, how much of a superstar he was, and how much money he had. And, the people of the world is going to remember that. But Kobe himself, he don't know about that now. He's with the Most High. As the scriptures say, absent from the body, present with the Lord, right? So he don't know about that now. His body here is just a corpse. You know, verse 11, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding. Right? So that's the Most High letting you know, this because you're rich doesn't mean that you have knowledge of these scriptures or the law, statutes, and commandments that you're supposed to be keeping, you know. You know, there's a whole lot of rich people out here in this world today, but they know nothing about the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. They know about that money, though. You know, they know how to make their money grow and work for them. You know, they know how to spend it. You know, they share it when they want to. You know, but they don't know nothing about the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, they don't know anything about rehearsing the righteous acts, especially with your own brothers and sisters. You know, so the Most High is letting you know, this because you're rich doesn't mean that you have understanding. Right? You may have understanding of the ways of this world, but you don't have understanding of the Most High. Right? Nor favor to men of skill. Right? So the Most High didn't show him any favor. You know, just as the book of Proverbs said, if you keep in the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, he will show you favor. You know, and he will prolong your years on earth. Right? So just because you have a great skill, you know, you a good basketball player, you're one of the best out there, you scored more than what was considered to be the best basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. You know, you had great skill. But that doesn't mean that the Most High show you favor. You know, at the age of 41, you know, look at you now. You know, what profits you now? You know, you're laying in your grave now. You know, all of that you accomplish is now a memory. All of the money that you accumulated over the years it's going to go down to someone else. You know, which is your wife and your two other daughters, which is good. You know, at least they don't have to worry about anything financially for the next few years or so. You know, the Most High's will. Because just like I said, no one's promised tomorrow. This world ain't promised tomorrow. I mean, you never know. I mean, you know, this country is at war now, even though it's not being televised. You know, so no one really knows what's going on over there now. And who knows, you know, one of those countries, they can get upset and send an atomic bomb over here, just blow this whole country up. You know what I mean? So we can't say that we're going to be here tomorrow and 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or whatever. You know, tomorrow's promised to no one. So, you know, just because you have great skill doesn't mean that the Most High shows you favor. You know, just when you at your peak, the Most High call you home and you say, all right, it's time to go. You know, you had a good life, you know, but hey, it's your turn, you know. It's time for you to go. Right? Okay, where was I? Verse 12. For man also knoweth not his time. So, just like I was saying before, Kobe, he didn't know his time. When he woke up this morning, he didn't think that, you know, the helicopter was going to crash into the mountain. That was the last thing on his mind. And I'm pretty sure everyone else, the other 8 people that was aboard, the last thing they thought about was dying on that helicopter. You know, they thought that they was going to arrive safe and everything was going to be fine. But, you know, the Most High had different plans. Right? As the fishes that are taken in the evil net, and as the birds that are caught in a snare, so are the sons of men snared, which mean trapped, in an evil time. So that evil time will be the helicopter heading for that mountain. You know? And it's a trap. They couldn't do anything to get out of that situation. I'm pretty sure they tried. You know, they was in there pressing all types of buttons. They was on the radio calling for help. You know, they probably was trying to grab the helicopter steering wheel, the handle, to try to steer away from the mountain or try to fly higher, to try to fly over the mountain. There was nothing they can do. So that was an evil time, you know. It was a snare for them. They couldn't do anything. right? When it fall suddenly upon them. And it came all of a sudden. They was just probably sitting back, taking in the view, looking at the skyline of Los Angeles and Calabasas. And then the next thing you know, you're heading for the mountain. It caught them off guard. Just like I said, it was the last thing that they was thinking about that morning, so that was a snare in that evil time that caught them off guard, just as it says in the scripture, when a woman travaileth, when a woman travaileth, meaning when she's about to give birth to a child, she expected because, she's pregnant with the child, but she don't know exactly the time when it's going to happen. She may feel a little pain here, a little pain there, but, it's not her actually travailing, but when it comes, it catches her off guard, and, she just have to just endure it. There's nothing she can do. She have to endure it until the baby comes out. So that's what happened in their case, When they were snared in that evil time, it was nothing they can do. And they just had to endure it to the end. Unfortunately for them and their families. So this is going to be my last verse. And I'm going to go to the book of Revelation, chapter 20. Okay. The book of Revelation, chapter 20. And I'm going to start at verse 12. Right? And it reads, "And I saw the dead, small and great," right? Concerning this earth, that means the rich and the poor. The high stature and the low stature. Right? "Stand before Yahweh, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life," right? "And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works." Right? So when you standing in the hot seat, so to speak, in front of Yahweh in heaven, and you're about to get judged, it's letting you know there, you're going to have the book of your life, and then you're going to have the book of the law, which is the Bible. And if your life doesn't match up with the book of the law, which is the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High that we're supposed to be keeping while we're here, then what you think is going to happen to you? So just as I said before, you want to make sure that your call in an election is sure. You got to be down here. We have to keep these laws. The laws are not done away with. And this is in the book of Revelation. This is the last book. Right? So it's letting you know. The book of the law and the book of life. So that's a clean cut there, to let you know that the laws are still here. And this is something that we must obey and do. Right? I'm going to jump down to verse 15. "And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." Wow. So you and I both know that's the last place where you want to end up. No matter what. You know what I'm saying? Just like it says in verse 12, I'm going to read it again. "And I saw the dead, small and great." You can take that for anything. Rich and poor, famous, unknown. You can pretty much pick and choose, right? "Stand before Yahweh, and the books were opened, and another book was opened," right? Which is the book of life. So that's letting you know the book of your life was open, and another book was opened, which was the book of life, which is the Bible. "And the dead were judged out of Salakia, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in those books," which is your book of life and the book of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, according to their works. Right? So, just as it says in verse 15, "And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." So, with that in closing, that's our main purpose. Just as it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, that the whole duty of man is to fear the Most High and keep His commandments. That's the whole duty of man, because everything is going to get judged, whether our works are good or evil. It got to match up with that book of life, and that's what we were put here to do. We got to spread the Most High's gospel, and we got to entice others to keep His laws, statutes, commandments, And we can't be going around saying that the laws are done away with. We're living on grace. We can do whatever we want. That's not what the Most High ordained us to do. You know what I mean? We're put here to get things right with the Most High. That's what grace is all about. Grace period runs out. You know what I'm saying? So, during this grace, we're supposed to be keeping His laws and rehearsing His righteous acts to get our sins blotted out. That's the whole idea, so we can continue to the kingdom. Okay? So hopefully that this was edifying. I try not to keep it too long. And if you enjoyed it, hopefully that you can share the video or write down the scriptures that you got from this video and share them. Maybe it could entice and encourage people to keep the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High so they can make the kingdom. And all should be well. Okay? So with that, I say shalom.